Welcome back. The Wainwright Military Family Resource Center provides support to families of not only the Canadian Forces, but the general public at large. But just what services do they provide? Trish is here from the Wainwright Military Family Resource Center, and she's here today to tell us all about the Resource Center. So Trish, what exactly is the Resource Center? What services do you guys provide?
Well, we provide family services, but the administrative background is we are a registered Alberta nonprofit organization. We are not a base unit or a military unit. The majority, 49% of our funding, comes from the military out of Ottawa. And so those services which are mandated by that agreement are the services that are specifically for military families. And the philosophy behind it is that because military families move so much back and forth and all around the nation, the family resource centers are to be like an extended family. So that there's always a place for the families to go where there will be some continuity of services, some things the same, a few things different, where they can connect with family that are at the other end of the nation.
Is this something that you'd find on most bases across Canada, a service like this, or within the community close to a base?
Yes, you would. That capacity is always there. But in the larger centers, like the major cities, it is mostly the service delivery mostly goes out to the military families because there's so much more available in a more metropolitan community than we have in a small base like Wainwright. But it's still, there would be certain provisions that would be made to engage the entire community because, again, like I said, part of our job is to provide that social networking platform. And in order to do that, you have to bring both communities together. What
are some of those platforms, and what are some of those things that you guys can do to offer towards a family?
Well, we always are there for them in any kind of crisis. So whatever context that might be, whether it's emergency child care, respite child care, after school child care, those kinds of things, parent education and awareness. But then beyond that sort of fundamental educational type of programming, when we move into the social networking, we try to create events and activities that will capture the interests of both audiences, a military and a civilian, so that they can get together.
You know, you have your events outside of the building, but you guys also have a building for drop-in type stuff too. You want to explain to me a little bit about how that works?
Well, over the years, our drop-in has become more and more concentrated on the children and the children's activities. We now have a really small daycare, which is open to military and civilian, but because of its nature,
and its funding,
it's
I guess, too,
military
right?
first, and then civilians can take up the rest of the space. We have an after-school program that is now registered and accredited. Before it was just like come and go. And it's still, even with it being accredited and registered, we still have civilian participants.
The child care must be a really important one too for the military members, with one spouse being deployed at any one point in time, being able to have someone to rely on in those instances, right?
It's our biggest issue, the biggest issue nationwide, because funding is always an issue. It is not funded by Ottawa, so we have to rely on user fees and fundraising and grants and things like that.
You guys have a number of events coming up. Do you want to maybe explain to me a couple of the ones that you have ongoing and in the near future?
Okay, first I'll speak to our Summer Splash program, which is our summer camp type of program, and that's a cooperative between my organization, Mfrc, the base, and the town of Wainwright. And we have been given the use of their old arena, the PMC arena in downtown, and we have the capacity to take in 100 children, which is far beyond what it was when I first started, which we were taking in 15. But that includes civilian and military. There's lots of space, and we get summer student grants to help beef up the staff to run it. So I want people to know that there's still space available and everybody is welcome. There's no restrictions on that program. The other thing is, one of our favorite times of year is always Stampede, because it gives us an opportunity to get out into the civilian streets and bang our drum and say, this is who we are and this is what we do. And 3 years ago, we started doing a pie auction. And what that is we solicit or encourage, yes, victims who will come to a stage and sit there.
I'm sure that's an easy thing to do too,
oh,
right?
yes,
so.
I did it myself the first year. So, and then people in the audience bid on them. The highest bidder gets to throw a pie in their face. And last year, it was our biggest fundraiser. I'll say that our biggest fundraiser is Doug Griffiths. We always save him till last, and he always brings in the most money.
Well, that's what happens when you get the chance to throw a pie at a politician.
Exactly.
I'm sure a lot of people are...
And not go to jail for it,
yeah,
or get arrested.
Yeah, that doesn't happen that often, does it?
Exactly.
Okay, so if anybody's looking for more information on the center, where should they go? What should they look at?
They can go onto our website, which is the Wainwright Mfrc, and that's got all the information on there and the contact phone numbers. We have our newsletter that's also on the website, but it's in most of the businesses around town, or they can just phone us at 842-1363 extension 1253.
Well, my guest has been Trish from the Wainwright Military Family Resource Center. Trish, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you for asking me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
After the break, we see how Four Wing Cold Lake is hitting movie theater screens everywhere. That's next on Around the Region.